Today I want to talk about the power of journaling, how journaling can add clarity to your life, allowing you to process day-to-day life as well as your emotions quicker and healthier. Glad to have you back today on this video while I'm talking about the power of journaling. You know, oftentimes we don't think about this simple thing that we can add into our life that can help us process our emotions, process the situations in our day-to-day life, and add clarity so that we can really understand what's truly going on. It's simple, it's practical, and it's free. All we have to do is buy a journal and begin to write on it and think about our life, but also be able to process those things that we write. So let's talk about this. Why should somebody begin journaling? The first reason to journal is obvious, getting our thoughts and feelings on paper. You know, oftentimes we have too many things going on in our mind. We have all these responsibilities bombarding us, stressors in day-to-day life, whether it's personal or dealing with corporate stresses, and all that stuff compiles into our mind, and we've got to get it out somehow. The second reason is for understanding how and why we feel a certain way about a particular subject or situation. Many of us are going through stressful situations, whether it's in a relationship with a parent, a friend, a spouse, a loved one, and we can feel overwhelmed and we can get to the point where we really don't understand where we stand. And when we write down these thoughts in a journal, we're able to really understand maybe what took place that day, how we felt about it, because when we're in our minds, we kind of have a whirlwind of thoughts, but we're really not piecemealing the situation as it actually happened. And so I've found personally in my own life that when I've had confusion about a situation with a loved one or something like that, when I've written it down in my journal and really analyzed it, I was able to understand the situation better, and I was also able to understand that person and also my stance in the situation. The third reason is it gives you greater understanding of yourself, because we're journaling about how we feel. We're journaling about the situations of the day. And that's powerful. Not only does it reveal to ourselves internally that we care enough to do self-care, which is journaling, but it also gives us a starting point to reflect back to and can use later on. But in the process, offering clarity and understanding so we know how we feel and maybe the next step that we need to make in our own life. The fourth reason that I find journaling so powerful and something that I work with intensely with every one of my clients is that journaling helps to point out repetitive thought processes or negative thought patterns, okay? So all of us, I mean, there might be a few of you out there that have never thought a negative thought about yourself ever. Kudos, okay? But I had a negative broken record that I had to work on years ago. And oftentimes these thoughts are about how you're not going to be successful, or this is never going to happen for me, or I'm never going to find love, or whatever. And many of us have about 5 to 7 of those negative thoughts, sometimes more, that we might not even be aware of. And journaling, when you journal just specifically on that, it can really awaken you to realize the negative thought patterns and to see them, because you can actually look in the journal and look at it and read it and realize this is what's going through my mind and this is what's holding me back in my life. The fifth reason to journal is that it allows us to create a different thought pattern. It allows us to replace that negative thought pattern with something that's actually self-affirming and leads us to our personal success. Remember, the more negative our thoughts are, the more that we are basically put into a small box that we can't escape from because we tell ourselves that we can't. So these patterns actually hold us back. And so when we actually change those patterns and create more affirmations in our life, we open our life up to possibilities that we didn't even know we had when we realize how the negative thoughts aren't true. Okay, so we talked about the reasons why journaling is powerful. But are there times in our life that we should specifically journal? I think there are. I think that we can journal every day and all day, and I love that. But I think there's specific times that we need to journal to really process the situation, process details, process emotions, and really be successful in our life and see truly the big picture. Okay, the first is on the onset of a big life change. A big life change to me is a change in a career, a loss of a job, loss of a spouse, loss of a parent, marriage, divorce, childbirth, another child. These are huge life changes. And in order to process that change and to process our emotions in a quick way, journaling is very powerful because we're able to write out our thoughts, our feelings, and actually see it in ink on paper to digest it easier and to understand and disseminate the information and understand why we're feeling a certain way. You know, oftentimes people don't journal and they just get stressed, they get anxious, they get fearful because they can't process everything. They're very overwhelmed, their sensories are overwhelmed, and so oftentimes that's when it leads to depression, anxiety, and feeling powerless to the situation. Secondly, to take note of that negative broken record. When you begin to realize that you're having negative thought patterns, or you sense it, or you hear that voice in your head as you're driving down the road to work, or you're fixing to go to sleep, this is a time that journaling is extremely powerful. Because once we actually accept the fact that those negative thoughts exist, it's our time to get them on paper to actually analyze them and understand. Because in order to find the fakeness in the statement, we have to actually see the statement, read the statement, and ask ourselves, is this totally true? Okay? When it's swirling around in our head, all it's doing is controlling us. And so when we write it down, we have the power to do that, and we can deconstruct those negative thoughts and realize that they just don't hold water. Thirdly, to record great change. Yes, many of us are going through many changes in our life, having great successes as well. Seeing changes and processing that in a journal is powerful. It commits the change to memory because we're able to go back and read that and see where we were last year and how much work we've done since then. To see how strong we've become mentally, emotionally, physical since we were there last year or 6 months ago or 3 years ago. And so it offers us a record of all the achievements that we've also made. And this can be very powerful because remember, journaling should be all about you, all encompassing, not just about the stuff that's stressing you out, but also about the magnificent things that you're doing in your day-to-day life, especially the big changes that change your life forever. And lastly, to remind yourself of the self-work that you have created. When we do self-work and we really work to better ourselves and to be better than we were yesterday, that accumulates over time, right? I like to look back at some of my writings from years ago and see where my mind was, where my emotions were, and then really see to where I had graduated to right now. It's very powerful because a lot of us don't give ourselves credit, okay? We actually see all the faults in ourselves. We see all the things that we've done to let ourselves down, and we feel as though we haven't gotten as far as we want to. Some of us feel as though we're behind the 8 ball in our career or personal life or whatever, but we really don't realize all the work we've done. And so journaling is a powerful way to remind you of that. So when you are feeling down or you're feeling as though you haven't evolved as much as you have, you can look back and realize all the work you have done and sometimes pat yourself on the back and feel better, feel lighter, but also feel grateful about where you've come from. Okay, so simple enough, we need to talk about the journal itself, okay? Not about what's written in it and when we write in it, but about getting that journal and what to do with it. And real quick, a couple of things to remember when you're getting that journal. Buy a journal that calls to you, something that has the colors or whatever you like about it. Find that and get it. Secondly, remember, don't write down a bunch of numbers or jot down a bunch of notes or grocery lists in this journal. This is purely for you to write your thoughts and feelings and life changes in, not just a bunch of trash. You can always write that on different paper. Keep this sacred. Next, remember, don't censor yourself. This is your journal. You can write whatever you want in it. Also, keep it private. Remember, there could be somebody in your family that wants to read it. Prying eyes are not cool when you're uncensored. So keep that in a safe place, away from other people. This is your private life. You're allowed to speak whatever you want in this journal, and there doesn't need to be anybody reading it. And last but not least, don't forget, if you can, at the end of each entry, write just a small thing about something that you're grateful for in your life right now. I hope this video has helped you to understand the power of journaling. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and let your friends and family know about this channel too, because maybe they can take something from this to make their life even better as well. And don't forget to comment in the comment section below this video. If you know something about journaling, if you journal and there's something powerful that you want to reveal that I didn't bring up in this video, I want to hear from you. Remember, this community is judgment-free, and everybody wants to learn from one another, and I also want to learn from you. You know, journaling is a very powerful tool, oftentimes overlooked, especially in our society today. And when we use journaling to process our emotions, our thoughts, and our feelings, we can really begin to understand ourselves quicker. We get a better understanding of what makes ourselves tick, and we're able to use that information to become more positively powerful and able to guide our life in the direction that we want our life to go. Start your journal today, and don't forget to live your true life. Authentic content, thought-provoking conversations, real life, celebrities talking about overcoming adversity and triumphing in success, as well as the pitfalls that they've had to overcome. Having those real conversations that are intriguing and purpose-filled that really lead us to having a more fulfilled and healthier life. If you're looking for content just like this, you need to check out The Celebrity Perspective with Ashley Berges and live your true life.